Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore.
All right. How's everybody doing today? Glad to be here with you. I'm actually live in the studio. That's right, live in the studio. But I'm going to share with you a conversation that I had with a gentleman by the name of Eben. And Eben is dropping some gems here because we've been having some conversation. He actually watched the conversation that Tim Swain and I had recently, and got some comments on that interview with Tim Swain. So Eben chimed in and he said, well, hey, here's another perspective that I want to share with you. So I'll share that in a moment, but I do want to tell everybody and make you aware of a few things we have coming up here with Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron and coming up in 2022. This is what we're working on. Now, I told you I got a big goal. I'm trying to bring 500 people to the continent in 2022. As of right now, hold on, the latest update is, let me do my calculations here. Hold on. Latest update, last time it was 352. That was last week. So as of today, hold on, do my math here. As of today, we're at 386, and this is February, but 17th. So by the end of the year, we're going to crank this thing out. Now, let me tell you what we have coming up that should be of interest to a lot of people. We did our survey, and in us doing our survey, outside of Ghana and Tanzania, we decided to add a couple of Ghana, Tanzania, and Egypt, I should say. We're looking to add 2 more countries this year, and I'll tell you, here we are. There we go. So we are working on Nigeria right now. We are downloading Nigeria and South Africa. So those are the 2 we're working on right now to be able to bring to you this year. We are looking at, for August, Nigeria. So I have a Ghana tour. So we're looking to tag team Ghana and Nigeria together. And then possibly, we'll see with South Africa. Somewhere September-ish, right in that range. We'll see where South Africa falls in it, because the latter part of the year, we are in Egypt and we are in Ghana. And so that's, we are loaded with Ghana towards the end of the year. I think we have like 7 or 8 in between November and December. And then we have 2 that we're going to be doing, 3, possibly 3 to Egypt. So we got a lot going on over here at Maximum Impact as we're bridging the gap. So we're not just talking about bridging the gap. We are literally bridging the gap. We have a big travel show coming up on February 24th, 8 p.m. And so we're going to be talking more about that as a part of that travel show. So that's coming up on February 24th. And actually, you can tune in. You can catch it right here on Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. Then we're in the middle of another Bridging the Gap discussion. We're talking about what's killing us. What is killing us? The pills, the profits, the potions. And I have an interview that's about to air with Plant-Based Jeff. He's going to talk about his journey and how his health was impacted in so many aspects of this. And I have so many good interviews with people who are familiar, who had health challenges, and they overcame the health challenges by modifying their diet. And that's a global problem, if you will. That's not Africa. That's not America. That's not just Canada. That's not Mexico. That's not Chile. It's a global problem. And so what we do is we talk about it and we offer tangible solutions so that people can get some things in order. So that's why you want to make sure you subscribe. You hit that subscribe button, you hit the like button, you hit the share button. And this is how we bridge the gap. This is how we improve our situations, because we're having these conversations. And one of the things I tell people all the time, one of the best ways to educate yourself is by way of exposure. And that's what you see us doing. We're having conversations. We're talking on the different platforms, whether it be YouTube or Facebook or IG or wherever, TikTok. But in addition to that, there's nothing like having exposure. And that's what you see us doing. And that's why We have so many. Some of the topics we talk about are pretty heavy hitting. Hardcore topics that address issues that have been like the elephant in the room. When I talked about the grocery store situation in Washington D.C. and how something's not right about that, that's a heavy hitting topic. That caused a lot of people to start thinking like, wait a minute, what's up here? Why is it like that? So the topic that we have right now is with Eben, and Eben said what Tim and I were talking about, some of the challenges people face when they go and they start a business in Ghana. And Eben said, well, wait a minute, don't forget about those who are Ghanaian who move abroad and then come back. And that's a perspective. So I want to introduce you to Eben and get his perspective. We had this chat a couple of days ago. I know you will enjoy this chat. And you'll see a lot of familiarity, and this is how we bridge the gap, by having these conversations. Enjoy, and I'll be back. I'm talking to Eben. And Eben, he actually had the opportunity to watch an interview that Tim Swain and I recently conducted talking about doing business in Ghana. And we were talking about some of the challenges, some of the upside, some of the downside. And Eben reached out. He said, hey, I got another perspective that I don't know if you all considered this. I said, well, come on, my brother. Let's talk about it. And Eben, actually, he's going to join us today. How you doing, man?
Hi, I'm doing all right. Thank you very much.
You're in New York City right now, right?
Yes, I'm in New York City.
And
yes.
I'm in D.C., so we are on East Coast time. So we
That's
are
right.
in the same time zone.
Yes.
All right. So tell me how I guess you were watching the interview with me and with Tim, and what resonated with you? Because we talked a little bit about this, but what resonated and prompted you to reach out?
And what resonated with me was when you spoke about the challenges that diasporans face in Ghana when they go to Ghana, and how he was able to mitigate those challenges and was able to overcome with the principles that he said. So I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, why don't we get a Ghanaian diasporan perspective on this very issue? Mm-hmm.
Now, explain Ghanaian diasporan. Explain that, because some people are familiar with the term diaspora, and then when you say Ghanaian diaspora, that sounds like, wait a minute, no, it can't be a Ghanaian diaspora. But explain that a little bit.
Right. So, a Ghanaian diasporan is someone who is a Ghanaian, both parents Ghanaians, and they were born here in the diaspora. And also, a Ghanaian adapted diasporan, I could say, is that some of us that came from Ghana and also became citizens in the US for a long period of time and have stayed here for a longer period of time. And that is what I term to be a Ghanaian diasporan.
How long have you been in the US?
For 20 years.
Okay, so you have a whole generation under your belt.
Yes, 2 generations.
You've been in New York the whole time?
And New York the whole time, yes.
You in the boogie down? You in the boogie down Bronx, or where are you?
I'm in Harlem Nights.
Okay.
Harlem Nights.
Okay, so Harlem Nights. See, there we go. All right. You been to Sylvia's? Have you been to Sylvia's?
Oh yes.
See, all right. That's gonna get your street.
125th, yes.
I gotta make sure that you official. You know, when you.
That's right.
If you're gonna be official diasporan, you got to be.
Yes.
So you know about the Harlem Nights, and you've been to Sylvia's. So
yes,
you're all right.
Yes.
So
that most famous restaurant.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I've been there and enjoyed it. So but that, to your point though, that could make things very interesting, because you are perceived differently, even though you still have your Ghanaian accent. I hear.
Right.
You still have your Ghanaian culture. So
right.
We're gonna find. Hold on. Before we even get there, we gotta find out if you still Ghanaian, because you've been away for 20 years. Banku, Jollof.
That's right.
Ache, which one? Which one is yours?
Jollof.
Jollof is yours.
Yes.
Okay, so
and I make it good. I'm thinking about trucks in New York right now that make jollof. What do you think?
Oh yeah, if you can do it, if you can do it right.
Yes.
So
I can do it right.
So do you eat banku?
Yeah, I eat banku. I could prepare banku. I could prepare any dish: the okra stew, the peanut butter soup, everything. Yeah.
Can you do wache? Can you do wache?
Yeah, I could do wache. Yes.
All right, can you do red?
Red, yes. Oh, you a Ghanaian.
Oh, Kelly Weller, come on, my brother.
Yeah, Kelly Willie, yes.
I just like to let everybody know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Sylvia is.
Yes.
All right, you have passed the test. So we can have the conversation now.
That's right.
You're an official Ghanaian diasporan.
That's right.
All right. So everybody understands that a diasporan is basically someone who has moved abroad or either been transferred abroad, whether voluntarily or by force. You know, just
Right.
depends on how you look at it. And that person is abroad, but they actually originate from a particular place. And so, in
That's
particular,
right.
you originate from Ghana.
From Ghana, yes.
Got it. All right. So let's talk. So, what are some of the challenges?
The challenge is, in fact, when I got over here in those years, I greeted people on the street. And when I say good morning, they look at me up and down. I'm like, am I in another world? Because in Ghana, when you wake up, you say good morning to everyone you meet on the street. You say hi to people, and they respond back to you. But I did not get the same response here in New York.
No, not in New York. See, but New York is another
It-
world. How about
It,
that?
it, it was a culture shock.
You
was
should
a
have gone down
culture
to
shock.
Georgia somewhere. And if you were in Georgia, they'd been like, "Well, howdy, good morning to you. We're glad to have you now."
That's right.
So you went through that culture shock in New York.
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yes.
So when did you adapt? So do you now walk around New York with an attitude and walk fast and everything? Is that how?
That's right. Right now, I'm grown. I'm grown at New York end.
Oh man!
But I
love
try to be nice on my job because I do casework and I work with individuals with HIV disability. So you have to be passionate, you have to be caring, you have to be able to do the deliverables, and I get good feedbacks, with those manners.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And what I love about Ghanaians is that they're so hospitable. Everywhere I've been, everyone has been very hospitable. But I see that transfer oftentimes especially once people in America discover like whether it's Nigerian diasporans or Ghanaian diasporans or Cameroonian or whoever, anybody from Africa, once they discover
That's right.
that I know a little something about where they're from, anything that they thought about Black Americans goes away.
That's right.
They're like, come here. Oh, my brother. Oh, I love you so much. I start talking. So at that point, it's like.
But African, the Ghanaian or the Ghanaian diasporan or any diasporan from Africa also think probably the African Americans don't really accept them. They have that concept until they get to a point where they mitigate that kind of roadblock before they feel accepted. Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
That's a good point. That is a good point, and that explains it all.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling you, every time I let someone know I know, their whole demeanor changes towards.
That's right.
I don't care what country it is. The minute I say something about if I talk about Nigeria and I say Lagos, and I asked them, I said, do you live on the mainland or do you live on the island? At that point, they love me.
They open up.
I'm Nigerian at that point. They don't care. They're like, come here, I love you, man. And I mean, it's with every person. Or if I ask, are you Yoruba? Are you
right?
And so I get into the culture. I talk about the food, or whether it could be East Africa, West Africa. So I get it. All right, so let's talk about this. What are some challenges that you face going back? Because I know you want to share some slides. So
I want to talk about the challenges first. I'm here, like trying to be here as a diasporan, being African or coming from any culture in Africa, and sending money to individuals out there to do business with. Mm-hmm. It's a big challenge.
Okay.
It's a big challenge. I'd wanted to bring some clips, but maybe in the future I will look at some few clips where individuals, Ghanaians who are from Ghana had sent money for buildings, and people have taken other pictures of other buildings and I've shown it to them.
Ooh.
So that is where, I got a topic when you were talking to Tim about, and Tim was talking about the challenges that he faced. That really started talking to me that, we can also bring something to light so that we can all learn. So once we get on the ground, we get the ground running, hitting the ground running like marshals. And that is where the whole topic come from. So it's been challenges. I've had a family who had been building for almost 35 years. They couldn't even finish building with their own families. And you won't believe this. It happens.
Oh, that sounds like some stuff in America, though. That sounds like some stuff down. Yeah, that sounds like America.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's almost 35 years. And I had to come in because I have some nephews over there that I brought them up. growing up, they have that respect for me, and I have to get them in to go and stand in to complete the building. So I wanted to bring some pictures to show out here, not to sell my idea or my perspective, but to be able to sort of inculcate it into the conversation that we are having today, that we are well able to do it when we team up very well from America or from the diaspora, and anywhere, could be UK, anywhere that you are in the diaspora. When you are going down, once you put your cues together, you're able to hit the ground running and you wouldn't face some of these challenges. So here, any diasporan or African diasporan could be treated as an American diasporan because they think you are coming with money.
So
I'm
it's a
talking about
money
the
game.
challenges. Yeah, money, yes.
So it has nothing to do with being
American. Black American, yes.
Right, because a lot of people get in their feelings and they feel like, well, you don't like me because I'm Black American. They don't really understand. This is about money. This is
about money.
Okay.
It's about money. It's about money.
So that's to be clear for everyone. It's about money, and it's not really to be taken personal.
Right. It's not in personal. I mean, I've been in troubles like that. Investment that I got all gone away. It never worked. I mean, regardless of who you invest with, until, my nephew started growing up, because I've been here for almost 20 years. So if they were 10, 15, some of them are 34, 35 now, and they are able to do things very well. So maybe I may share the slide here.
Yeah, let's walk through the slides.
Let's see if I could share the slide here. Slideshow.
So while
from the
you're
beginning.
doing that, there we go.
Yeah. So let's see here if I'll be able to minimize my screen. So at least.
So right now, everybody, what Eben's doing, he's getting ready to share some slides with us and to kind of walk it down. So some of the things that he's done, and as you're doing that, then everybody will have a chance to.
I hope the slide is up. Share it is being shared, right?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you're gonna. Yep. There we go. All right. So then go ahead and do
slideshow. Okay.
From the beginning. There you go.
From the beginning.
All right.
Yeah, I learned something today from the board. We're always learning. Yeah, I've been having the challenge with this Zoom thing and all that. So I have the Ghanaian American business in Ghana, the Ghanaian American business in Ghana, and how does average Ghanaian treat the Ghanaian American Ghanaian, and that is what we went through.
Let's do it.
That's what we went through. Yes, there isn't any difference. We get treated the same way because everyone knows we're coming in with money and we have the money to spend, so they will spend it for us. Yeah, that's the concept, the first concept.
You got to say that again.
I said the first concept is that, everyone knows everyone from the diaspora is coming with money, so money to spend. So once you go there, some of the things that you see people react to, they are reacting because they know you have the money. You are a billionaire or millionaire. They don't know whether you're working for the government or you're working for yourself and you're trying to come and set up business. So the concept of not exploiting you, but the concept of you spending money on people is likely to be the thing that people will be looking forward for.
but you said a phrase that caused me to stop. You said, "And they will spend it for you." That's what you said. You said, "And they will spend it for you," or they will spend your money, or something to that effect.
To that effect, yes.
Okay.
And it covers a lot of things that Tim also had mentioned when you had the interview with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't transpire to every Ghanaian, but I'm talking about an average Ghanaian. Like you take a taxi driver, they know that you have an accent, they know that you don't belong here. That's first thing they see. Maybe something that they have to charge about 2 cedis, they'll charge you about 5 cedis or 10 cedis, Ghanaian cedis. And the dollar converted to Ghana cedis is about 6 cedis, 20 pesos or so, if I'm right.
Okay.
If I'm right. Yeah. So that's what goes on really. If you go with money, they think you have money. Or once they see you, they think you have money to spend.
Okay.
So let's take note of that. So I asked, how does the average Ghanaian also treat the individual from the diaspora, like you covered broadly, compare and contrast treatment if they differ from each other, which we have touched a little bit on. It does not differ at all. The only difference is that because the Ghanaian diasporan or any other diasporan from Africa, whether Nigeria, Cameroon, that you have mentioned, Ethiopia, may have some sort of ties. And sometimes they hold allegiance to those ties. So once you get over there, that allegiance is already there. So once you are being being taken advantage of, they're able to come in to help you, because at the end of the day, they know they benefit from you. And that differs from the first definition that I gave. When you are here and you are sending the money as an African, Ghanaian diasporan, Ethiopian diasporan, Nigerian diasporan, you also take advantage. Of course, you are not present. You are not present.
Okay, so that's a key thing that you just said there.
Mm-hmm.
Not being present. So people should be present.
Yeah, people should be present and see what is going on. It's very, very important. So there is no difference. So here, some of the things that building trust with families and friends versus showing showing up in the country due to attraction or to inclusiveness. What I mean with this is that if you're going to Ghana, look for a Ghanaian diasporan. Have a Ghanaian diasporan friend, have a Nigerian diasporan friend, have Ethiopian diasporan friend, or any friend that is from that country that, you know them, you've been with them, you've been around them, you know how they do their things. So once you decided that you are going to that country of origin, aside from Ghana, because I don't want to limit your show to just Ghana, just to every country from Ghana, from the African continent, you are able to get down, hit the ground, have people that will be around you and they'll be able to help you because of the ties that you have over here in the diaspora.
Okay.
We want to look at, perception versus actuality. The perception versus actuality goes where people would think you have money, you brought money and they have to spend. The actuality is that you and I go over there and we work hard for our money. And sometimes we take loans. That's the actuality. And they don't know the difference. They can't tell that. Because
it's not loan culture. Most African countries don't have loan cultures or debt cultures like America does.
Right.
In many Western countries.
Right. That is very tough over there with the loan system over there. And it's very, very high out there in Ghana or any other country. Ghana as an example to African country. So we want to talk about identity versus transparency. Like I said, if you are a Ghanaian and you go there yourself and you being present is different. The opportunities that you get will be more. Like I'll go to Ghana right now and you'll be surprised that I can go to any corner that I grew up from because I have that kind of memory. I don't need help to get to anywhere. I'll go to Carnation, Nwa, I'll mention all of them to you. All areas that I need to get to, I'll be able to go to. But with a diasporan who hadn't been to a country before, it's a challenge. And for you to be able to mitigate that challenge or to resolve that challenge, it's always good to have a tie. So I'm thinking that I may be pleading with you since you already, in this business to start to, bring the ties of the African community more to the diasporans that are going and to link some of them up to them to make it more easier transition when they get over to the countries of origin. Because I could tell you when you get to Ghana, there are hotels, a lot of hotels. And I could give you some cheap hotels that maybe with your budget that you'll be able to get to. Or maybe if I contact some of my people out there, they'll be able to do the search, send you, unless you are going for luxury, that's different. Then you could be able to go to see places where you could spend more money. But if you want to go and explore, the country, just trying to go and look at things and see if this is for you, I think you should have a ties.
Yes.
And I should have a ties. Yeah.
That's interesting enough. That's one of my strategies when I go. A lot of people wonder, like, how do I go to these countries and navigate these countries so well? They're like, well, Jay, how do you go into a country? Like, I'm about to start taking tours to Nigeria. They're like, man, you about to start taking tours to Nigeria. How did this? Wait a minute, brother. What happened here? Because I have the ties. Because I go and I spend time and I get among the people. And I take care of the people.
That's right.
But I also know how they look at me. So I know when they see me, they see money. And then what I do, I flip the script on them. I said, look, I know how you see me. I said, so let me tell you the truth. Let me give you the perception versus the actuality.
That's right. We got that. You got that right.
So now, then I break it down. I said, I'm not going to pay this price right here. So give me this price. Then what I'll do, if they're willing to give me the local price, then I'll give them a little more just to let them know.
That's right.
So my point to everyone is that's how you establish the ties. If you take care of people, and you get the right people around you, then you can make some moves. So go ahead.
Thank you very much. So that's where the identity and transparency and that now fiction and reality, so they look at you as a story of worth. But in reality, that is what we just explained. So straight to the point. So I'll move to the next point. You just nail, the nail on the head. Then I just Google to see, the salary rate of an average Ghanaian. Google gave me this here, so I give credit to Google. The average salary, per Google is 5,070 Ghana cedis, and if you divide this by six, or more or less, is saying that people get paid from 1,280. That's the lowest to 22,000. That's the highest, considering housing, transportation, and other things that goes on there. So some individuals might be in the low range, and if I'm in the low range and I know you are a millionaire and you're from the diaspora, let's be realistic, and you're able to help me, I'll open arms, you are around me. I'll be like, well, you'll be able to help me. So sometimes the perception of a Ghanaian probably trying to be a little sneaky on a diasporan, sometimes also is a perception, and it's where they're coming from and how they've been trained. Some people may come from a low income family, yet they have been trained very well to be able to handle people well, very accommodating, very family oriented, very welcoming. They do that, but you have to take some of these things into consideration, that this, a low income country that you are going into. So it all stems with the money. We're also going out there to do businesses to make profit. We're going out there to be able to, change the environment and to impact people. So like Jay said categorically, sometimes we have to have a little bit of incentive, but we have to make it, we don't have to hand too much incentive to make it so lucrative that people think that we brought a lot of money, which might not be so. In my concept, I'll use myself as an example, and there's nothing wrong to share. I've been to Ghana, fly with family. We got over there. My money ran out. I have to call the US for money to come again. To spend out there. It's not easy when you change the cities. You change it a lot, or any other currency in the country that you go. But remember that you are there by yourself. And these individuals also really are there to work to make some sort of money. So sometimes some people are very dubious, but it's not everyone that is dubious. Very welcoming.
Okay, now let's put this into context, because I think it's important for people to understand this. We'll talk about poverty versus the norm,
right?
But I also know you talk about average salary is 5,070 cedis. That's got the Ghanaian currency per month. So that translates to roughly $845 per month.
Right.
So, because I know we have people watching on both sides. I'm not sure what that translates into euros and into Canadian dollars and whatever other currencies are out there, French francs and British pounds or whatever. But then when you look, that's the average salary, but the lowest, and I know people making lower than the 1,280.
Yes.
I know people making 600. I know people making 300 Ghanaian cedis a month, which is like, that's $50 a month. That's $50 a month. Now, when you say the highest average is 22,000 cedis a month, that's the highest average.
Yeah, that is what Google gave me. This that's why I
I'm
Google report.
So that's roughly $3,766 a month. So that's, yeah. So that's still, so if you take 3,700, 3,766 times 12. So that's someone making consider making a lot of money in Ghana would be $45,200 a month. I mean a year. I'm sorry.
A year. Yeah.
So, anyway, so that I just wanted to put that there for everybody, so they would be able to, because I know the audience may not even understand CDs versus dollars, but
that's true. That's true. I should have converted it. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
At all.
Yeah. Yeah. So some Ghanaians make money. I know some Ghanaians make a lot of money. Out there, if you have the right business out there. So, what are the stuff? I say identifying communities to assimilate safely. That's one of the things that I proposed. If it's okay, African American communities, we have them out there in Ghana. Once you go, you look for the African American communities, or Caribbean or Ethiopian, diasporan communities, And any other communities or a Ghanaian, you look for the Ghanaian, American, or diasporan communities and you assimilate with them, especially if you've been out of the country for a long period of time. It is very, very interesting, very, very interesting for you to know people who have been there, who had come to the diaspora and have relocated. So at least you could work with them whilst you are there to make it more easier. Identify individuals and families from countries of residence who have, ties in the countries of settlement. So once you know people, like I said earlier on, from here, and you go down, it's very easy for you to assimilate also. So these are some few points on that. Yeah. And now we want to talk about people want to visit for pleasurable activities that you could Google hotels. There are nice hotels that you could talk to them from here on your budget. You could also look at that before you go down, because people want to go for just pleasurable activities. That also, you need to get there safe. You could also, get in touch with agencies that are registered with the tourism department that will be able to help you to navigate the country safely. That will be a little bit more costly than going to be in probably, let's say, a hotel that is a little cheaper, but you're going to have to fare for your transportation and look at how you get to destinations. And sometimes it can be easy if you don't have those ties that we've mentioned.
Okay.
Yes, it'll not be easy. Hold on, man. I think that is what I put down. But I was speaking to one of my colleagues also, and he was telling me, like, when it comes to like lands, buying lands out there.
And you can stop sharing your screen that way.
Okay, so that okay, right? So yeah,
yep.
Stop sharing. Yeah.
Yep. There we
yeah,
go.
Good.
All right.
Yeah,
perfect. So you were talking to one of your colleagues?
Yes, and he told me that when you want to buy lands out there, you want to go to you make sure that you go to registered companies with the lands department, and also do your search. It's very, very important to do your search thoroughly and deal with the government agencies that are known for registration of lands, because it's a lot of things that goes on with lands. I heard also that there are lands that are being given to the diasporans when they come. It's a village that I'm not too much aware of, but we could also look for it, and maybe that some other time we can talk about it. It's free lands, or you give just about $1,000 or $500 and you have the land. And it's mapped where it's a city for all the diasporans. So we can look into that some other time. That also being said, if you're going by yourself and you want to use hotels and other places, like I said, make sure that you know what you're doing. You don't want to get out there and be like, you don't know where you're going or you don't know what you're doing, that people take advantage of you. It's very, very important.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that piece there, because at the airport,
right.
And that's what I tell people when they come on our tours. I say, hey, listen, I said, when you come out of that airport, that is like fish coming into a net. And I said, don't talk to anybody as far as letting them help you with the bags, because if they help you with your bags, they're going to be expecting a tip. Now, if you want to be generous like that, then go ahead by all means, but just understand that's what's happening when you come out, because this is an opportunity. People are trying, and I said, it's nothing personal. I said, people are trying to survive. And I said, if flip the script, what would we do? I would be out there trying to, I'd be saying, well,
absolutely,
hey, coming to the airport, let me go to the airport and make my money. And if I have a bunch of naive tourists coming in, then I'm gonna shoot my shot. Basically, I'm gonna shoot my shot to see what I can come up with. So that's similar to what you're talking about.
Yes. It's very, very important. I mean, once you come out, sometimes some of us go and we're very generous. I change a lot of like dollars, like $1, and I make some of the guys pick up the stuff, or if they don't pick it up and my family is around, I still give them the money anyway. I give them some little tips here and there, because the individuals are hustling. Everyone you see at the airport is a hustler, like someone, especially here, like in New York, where I'm coming from, Harlem. You go to McDonald's and someone will open the door and be like, can I have $1 and stuff like that. It's the same thing that happens at the airport. So sometimes we have to relate some of these things that happen here around us. And when we go out there, we don't get a cultural shock of people sometimes asking money.
They're like, oh man, they see they're so aggressive. And that's I try to tell people, I said, listen, you got to understand the system. You got to understand. You can't, don't take it personally. Don't go and, I don't ever want to go back again because they were and you know what? I'll say this much: they're not really that aggressive in Ghana.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're really not. Now Egypt,
Yeah.
on the other hand, Egypt was
Yeah.
a whole different story. Little girl
Yes.
grabbed my arm and wouldn't let go, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to sell me some napkins, and some tissue, and I was like, I don't want the tissue. And the
Right.
guy, he came over, about to rip her off. I said, no, to kind of pull her away from me. I was like, no, it's fine. She just it's okay. I know how to say no. I can handle it. But I didn't take it personally, and I'll go back
Right.
to Egypt.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about a lot of things that probably maybe could happen maybe in the future. I will talk about maybe teaming up, being able to do some sort of non-profit organization, because my profession is social work. I just graduated from the master's level and I'm waiting for my license. And I'm
Okay.
thinking about some sort of thing like that in the future. But currently we're talking about how diasporans could settle and they'll be able to get there and do businesses and feel comfortable whilst they are there.
But
And
I'm gonna jump in here because you prompted me to think of something. This is a good conversation. And if you've ever watched my channel, you know I'm that guy.
I'm privileged though. I'm privileged.
No.
Yes. I'm humble, and to your
No.
audience, I didn't even get a chance to say, greet your audience and thank them for this opportunity. So I'm
Well,
really
we thank you for
grateful.
your wisdom and your insight. But this thought came to mind, and this is a concern that I have. Ghana, right?
Right.
You know Ghanaians, right?
Yes. Right.
All right. You've been in America 20 years.
Mm.
You've been in Harlem.
Right.
So quote unquote African Americans pretty well.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
My concern
Mm.
my concern is that there will be certain African Americans who will go to Ghana and other places in Africa with the mindset of the colonizer and completely disrespect the culture, and they're just going to take advantage of the opportunity that's there. True. They're like, oh, well, hey, I got some money. I'm going over here to Africa because I'm going back to Wakanda.
Right.
Go get some of Zamunda. And
Right.
I don't care about them people. I don't care about the people on the ground. I'm going to exploit them the same way that black people have been exploited in America. Because I see, because this is real. This is stuff.
It's rare. Yeah, it's rare.
Oh, that's real.
It's rare.
This is something that happens. So
Yeah.
that's my concern, that if we don't have these conversations, it's almost like during slavery time, the person who would get set free,
Right.
would then turn around and go buy enslave someone else who's just like them,
Right.
in the same position, and treat them worse than what the master would treat them. And so that's
Absolutely.
the concern, the cultural concern I have about, because I hear this coming from some African Americans. There's some African Americans that go over there and they're great. They respect people, they respect the culture. But then there are others who go over there. It's like, you just need to go and stay in America. Don't even go. If you're going thinking like that, don't even take that over there.
Right.
So I think about that when you talk about the partnerships. I think on this side, we probably need to have a culture training so we don't take people over there and do more harm.
That's true.
Than good, because they're taking the money, but then they're also bringing the mindset. They're also bringing that hardcore colonial mindset and trying to change the people to make them like a lot of African Americans, so-called African Americans, believe that they have it better because of their financial capacity,
right,
without being able to see what they're lacking because of their financial capacity.
That's
so
true.
They're thinking their financial capacity is like, I got the money, so you do what I say. And they come with that attitude versus say, wait a minute, these people have ingenuity. They got a hustle that will beat anything in the world. These people are smart. They're humble. They have to be resourceful and slick, if you will, but we're slick too.
Right. That's true. Yeah, everywhere.
So it's like, when I hear it, but I love the point that you make, though, as far as bridging the gap. And I just, and so what would you propose? How would we address that concern, bridge those gaps so that it's a mutually beneficial and mutually healthy situation? Because that's something I think about. What would you recommend?
Right. Yeah, I've seen individuals in Kumasi area, African Americans, that have adapted schools, and they are teaching the schools how to be able to have a mindset of winning and being victors, not victims. They've been victors, not
Yes.
victims, and helping them with books, helping them with even pen and pencils, uniforms. So we're talking about non-profit organization. Even let's say, for instance, we have an African American or diasporan organization that is well supporting people and know some of these organizations on the ground, where they can even go to the airport area, like we say, recruit people and put them to school, tell them that, hey, get a skill, to take some of these people out of the street, because the government is not doing it all. And we don't want to talk about the government. We're talking about non-profit organization today. So I'm not going to the government
You're
yet.
not going down that road
Yeah,
right now.
I'm not going that route today, so that at least we stay on course, So I mean, once we do some of these things, we'll be able to bridge some of the gaps, and we'll be able to see the needy individuals. There is a video that one time, I'll quote it. This gentleman had someone call him from Ghana who was trying to exploit him. They do that to take money from the older folks, but he worked for the feds, and he happens to pick up the call. And once he picked up the call, he told the guy that, do you know what you're doing? He did not know. And he have adapted the guy now. The guy is a security agent right now in Ghana, but this gentleman is a Caucasian. He has adopted the black gender guy, and now his brother is here in Yale. So we can make a difference with our background, with the trainings that we've had here, with the insight that we've had here, with education. And one thing, like you said, an average African child is a humble child. I'm not saying all of us, we have our things also going on around us. But once we are able to put that perspective in their side, we are able to change some of these situations and perceptions about our brothers in the diaspora, and that we don't just come with money, but we also come with a lot of knowledge and wisdom to impart the country.
Now you see, you opened up a can of worms there. You opened up a can of worms, Evan. You keep opening these worm cans, and and I gotta be true to the maximum impact here. All right, let me ask you this question, because you just dropped some gems out there. Okay, so how do you think Ghanaians see, the average Ghanaians? Let's not be monolithic with it. Let's be
Right.
Understand it.
Right.
How they see Europeans and white Americans versus black Americans.
Yeah. I'll tell you, from my perspective, those days, because of the way we're colonized and also brainwashed, every white man that you see in the continent of Africa, we think they are a savior. That's what we think. But some of these individuals come in there and they exploit the individuals or the citizens of the country. Less pay, low pay, give them menial jobs because they don't have any, and they don't pay them very well. Until I started reading more, doing social work, knowing the perspective of what some of our Caucasian brothers could do, but not all of them. Some of them are great. They are doing greater things, impacting our communities. If I'm not afraid to say, probably maybe in a way, a little more than maybe an average diaspora like myself will go to Ghana and do, because they have access to the money.
I was gonna say, they have the resources.
So they have the resources,
right?
To do that. So when they get out there, people hail them, and I think they get a little bit more better treatment than you and I, who are diasporans, when it comes to race.
Now, I'm glad that you said that, because that is a source of contention for a lot of people. When they go, they say, well, I don't know if I want to go to a place, and then I go to a restaurant, and I'm getting discriminated against by black people. Now, what's going on? I get this in America, and I get discriminated, and they do it in America too. Black people do it in America, just to let you know. But then they go to Africa, and they're like, well, wait a minute. The white person came in, and they served the white person first, and then I'm sitting here waiting. My money is still, my CDs are still good, just like the next person's CDs. So I think understanding those cultural
differences,
but understanding why, I think that's the part people don't take the time to explore. Why do people do that? And you said it earlier. You talked about the colonization.
Right.
You talked about the brainwashing.
Right.
And sadly, many people who go to visit Africa don't understand the colonization and the brainwashing that occurred.
Right.
And without really don't understand how it's the same thing that happened to us in America.
That's true. That's true.
You know, it's the same mind stuff. So this offense occurs that keeps us separated.
Right.
And so then they still come in and look like saviors from stolen resources.
Right.
So they might have the resources, albeit
Yes.
stolen.
Yeah.
I tell you, open up a can of worms.
Right. That's true.
But so, and this is not everybody, of course. So
That's not everybody. Yeah.
Just to be clear, I recognize that there are some people from Europe and of European, pure European descent.
Yeah. Great heart.
Who are doing really nice and beneficial things on the continent, and they don't even see themselves as saviors. They're doing it. Some of them are doing it because they recognize the impact of colonization.
That's true.
And they're saying they feel some sense of responsibility because they benefit from colonization. And they say, you know what? This is how I repair some of what my ancestors did. And that's that group. So they're not coming at it from a savior's complex. So this is not saying everybody, but I will say that it's a lot of folks.
Yes, a lot of folks. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we understand that. So how does someone deal with that when you go to a country and you see where because a lot of African Americans have trigger points.
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
Right. I mean, hey, it is what it is. You know, a lot of African Americans have trigger points, and if they see anything like that, like we were in Sierra Leone, and I was getting my dual citizenship, and the people in Sierra Leone, they ran a video, and I was like, somebody did not do their homework on this one.
Right.
They ran a video, and there's a white dude talking about how Sierra Leone was home. So all the so-called African Americans were in there. Were like, well,
what is going on here? Yes.
What did we do? You've been around us for 20 years. You know how we think. So,
Right.
So they were like, hold on. What just happened here?
Right.
Nope. Why did you get him to represent? And I
Right.
think what happened, the people who were heading it up did not realize the cultural sensitivity. So how should an African American or Canadian, Afro-Canadian, Afro-Brit, how should they, or Afro-French or whatever, how should they respond to when they see things like that on the ground and internally? What would you recommend as a Ghanaian American?
Right. I mean, we have to look at the perception that had been really imparted into these individuals out there, the brainwash that had been with them for a long period of time, and question it. I questioned something that happened one time. I went to Ghana about 15 years ago. I was coming, I saw a bunch of Caucasians. I was online and they just passed the line. I went there and I told them that I'm on the line and they should let them come back until they explained to me that they were officials. We have to speak up. That's one thing. We don't have to compromise our integrity and also our rights. We have the freedom of speech here in America. That's one thing that I love about America, freedom of speech. Nobody hold you and put you to jail. You have the right to your opinion as long as you are giving it rightly, and also it's wisdom to it. Someone might think about it critically and see that you are saying the right thing, or you are trying to let it be right rather than you being looked down upon. I will speak up in that case, but in a respectful way.
Okay, so speaking up is one way that we can do it, because I'm
Right.
telling you, when I think about many African Americans are very, very sensitive.
Right.
And so once that happens, they're ready to come back
They
home.
go off. Yes.
Yeah, go off. Okay, there you go. You went there with it. Okay, I was going to tiptoe around that one. Oh, they
Yeah.
go off. And you don't understand how y'all going to be doing all this. I paid my money green too, and y'all can't believe I'm in Africa, and y'all doing this in Africa. And so that'll happen. Or they'll hop on YouTube, and then
Make a
they'll say,
video.
well, this is why I went back to America. And
Right.
because they didn't do this, that, and the other in Africa. And I think a lot of it goes back to the expectations. I think sometimes we have unrealistic expectations
Also.
based upon a level of ignorance in us because we don't understand what happened. And I think the conversations like what we're having right now are so
Yes.
beneficial. And I think the good part of what you bring to the table is that you've lived in the U.S. for 20 years, and then you are from Ghana, so you understand both cultures, and you understand those dynamics. So, okay, all right. So speaking up is what you say. If you see something like that,
Yeah.
speak up.
Yeah, speak up.
respectfully.
Yes. Yeah,
Got you.
respectfully. Yes.
All
I
right.
mean, it goes a long way. I mean, here, right here in America, I mean, like when we talk about people being prejudiced, even among ourselves, like going to school, it took me almost 6 years to get a recommendation. And there's a Caucasian um guy that wrote a boyfriend of one of the individuals because of other reasons. I'm not mentioning names here. Yeah.
You're right, right.
She took upon herself and took my recommendation to the boyfriend who was a Caucasian who wrote my recommendation for me to be able to get to school after I completed my school. And people within my cycle that I know that were blacks like me, African Americans, did not give me that recommendation. So it goes both ways.
So
Yeah.
you had to basically play the game to get to where you need to get to. I mean,
yes.
right. I mean, when I say play the game, meaning it's like, okay, well, if y'all don't want to give me the recommendation, I'm gonna go to
Right.
where I can get the recommendation,
Right.
because I'm not gonna miss out on an opportunity
That's right.
because y'all
That's right.
hating on me for whatever reason. Or y'all don't want to give me a recommendation,
Right.
and so you say it goes both ways.
Yes. Go both ways.
When you say both ways, break that
Both
down.
ways. I mean, like when it comes to like we handling issues here as diasporans from other culture or other countries that we come out here, sometimes we also go crazy. Like, why am I being treated that way? But I did not go crazy in that perspective. In fact, a lot of things happen within the confinement that I was in, and I was very patient until I got to someone who understood me and studied me for some time and was comfortable enough to write a recommendation to have her boyfriend look over to make sure that this was right, who was a Caucasian, for me to be able to get to school. And that's how I was able to get to my master's level. So patience is very, very important, and using wisdom.
Yeah. And you got it. And you did not go, you might have felt it, but you didn't act out.
Right. And I didn't act out. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't
and
act
you were
out.
patient.
Yes.
And you saw that. And so, that's the interesting part about the African diaspora and Africa as well, that many times the people who will be the roadblock for us will be people who are just like us, who come from the same places that we come from, and from circumstances and backgrounds and all of that. They'll come from those same places and give us the hardest time. And then, unfortunately, what will happen is that can kind of reinforce that savior's complex, because then we'll be forced to go, or somehow, somebody else from a different ethnicity comes in and provides the opportunity. And so it's like, whoa, well, what happened here? So that's very interesting, Eben. All right, well, this has been a very good conversation. We have to do this again.
Yes. I have a lot of things I want to share also. So maybe we'll come to that social work perspective, and some of ideas that I want to see. I want to sell ideas. Once I see someone even take my idea and run with it, that's great. One time I was trying to bring a perspective, and this lady doing her doctorate told me I'll steal the idea. I'm like, once you steal it, you impact people, and that's what I want to do, and I don't have that opportunity. So it's always good to share ideas, wisdom, and impact people, and that's how we also learn. I learned something new from you today, because when I came over here sharing the slideshow, everything was was all over the place.
I give you my tutorial, my
30-second
tutorial.
You did. I just want your audience, your respectful audience, to know that you gave me a tutorial this very afternoon. I was so happy. I'm humble, that you invited me. I just reached out to you. You haven't met me anywhere, and you believe in me, and this gives me more confidence. And I'm willing to also come out here and also give the little that I have to the community.
No, you gave a lot of good wisdom, man. I'm humbled as well, because, again, we did not know, but something told me. Something told me. I said, nah, this is going to be a little different, because people reach out to me, and it's kind of like, I don't know, but but I think the way that you reached out, because I love to have these conversations, and if anybody's out there watching right now and you have a conversation that is not rambling, and just like you have a concise conversation that can benefit an audience, and because that's what you did, Eben. You had I didn't know you were gonna have slides.
Thank you.
Slides. I said, well, okay, I got this one right. All right. You broke out with the slides. I said, all right, here we go. But that's so important, because my goal on this channel is to bridge the gap.
Mm.
And so I never thought about the diaspora that originated
Mm.
in a particular country that went abroad, and then
Mm.
how when they come back. I never
Mm.
thought about it. So I learned something, and I know everybody here learned something because it's a conversation that we
Right.
need to have. And so I definitely want you to come back and again,
Thank you. I
topics that
really
you brought
appreciate
up.
it.
Yeah, the
I
topics
really
that we
appreciate that. And with time, pairing up with you or teaming up with you, I'll be able to help some few people. Because some of my nephews, they build, they do other things out there. I would like to show videos, things that they are doing out there to help individuals, systematically to be able to settle in. If it's Ghana, I'll be able to do that. I have some brothers in Nigeria, but we don't have that kind of relationship for me to put that aspect here
yeah.
that they'll be
Right.
able to do what these Ghanaians are doing out here that they are building. They don't do stuff like that. So I can't give any information about Nigerian brothers. But in Ghana, people on the ground helping families that are doing the right thing for them, even better than myself.
Okay, well let me say this. I'm buying land in Ghana right now, so I'm gonna need some builders.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, see? And so what I do, people watch me and what I do to determine their next move,
Right.
because that's why a lot of people go on my tours. That's why a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people follow me,
Mm-hmm.
because they see that I'm willing to put my money up first.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm successful, then they're
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I will follow what he's doing because I
Right.
know he's not going to get into anything that's not going to be successful or not lead people into something that he believes. I can't guarantee results,
Right.
but I would love to connect with your people on the ground in Ghana
Yes.
and at least see, what they can do.
Right.
And if it can be done, then what that does is that's an automatic connection. Because all people want is for someone to be able to trust.
Yes. Sincerity.
They want to
Sincerity.
know, and it kind
Yes.
of ties into your vision that
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to bring people together,
Mm-hmm.
then now you have someone right here
Mm-hmm.
who's buying land,
Mm-hmm.
who's looking to build.
Right.
You have connections with builders and all of that. So then I think that would be a great story to share. And it's a great resource because then people say, well, okay, I can trust them and they'll consider it. So we'll talk more about that, but in the future and
Right.
offline. But
Right.
Eben, man, I thank you for and it's Eben is short for Ebenezer.
Ebenezer. Don't say Scrooge though. Don't say
I was
Scrooge.
going to say Scrooge.
Once you say Scrooge, you get charged a penny.
Oh Lord. so so Eben, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insight and wisdom, and we look forward to having you back here on Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. Listen, everybody, the best thing to do is to share this video. This is a perspective that a lot of people don't hear, and it's a perspective that a lot of people should hear. So by you sharing this video, more and more people can connect with it, and especially when people are traveling to different countries, and help shifting their mindset so they don't walk around feeling as though someone's taking advantage of them because it's personal. It's a lot of times it's survival. There's a lot, and if you just put yourself in their shoes, what would you do? A lot of times we do it already, but don't realize we do it.
That's
just
true.
on the level that we're on. So that's the
Right.
deal. So again, Eben, man, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your insight and wisdom, and we look forward to having you back real soon.
Thank you, Jay, and I thank all your audience also for coming up, and listening to us. Thank you so much. I'm really humble. Thank you so much.
My man, Eben. All right, that's what's up. Man, I tell you, it's so good to talk to people. And what I'm going to be doing this year is I'm going to be having these types of conversations with those who are from the African diaspora, meaning those who may have been born in Africa. Now they're living abroad. They might be in the UK, might be in Canada, might be in France, might be in America, might be in the Caribbean, might be in South America. Could be in Australia. I would love to talk to you if you fall into that category. And what you can do is send an email to jcameronofficial. All right, jcameronofficial@gmail.com. And like I said in the video, if you have something concise to say, because sometimes people get on and they're just like, oh, you're like, oh, what just happened here? But if there's something a perspective that you want to share, that I believe will add to the bridging the gap conversation. That conversation right there was a really good conversation. He's living in Harlem Nights in New York City. We were able to talk about Boogie Down Bronx. He understood that, but then we came back around, and because I spent time in Ghana, then I was able to understand some of the Ghanaian culture, and that bridged the gap. So then we had a conversation that was beneficial. It was no friction. There was no, my trauma was worse than your trauma, and you don't understand my trauma and all this other kind of stuff. And we went through the same, but our ancestors for real, not us, because we didn't necessarily go through the same thing on that level. Some of us have the same common ancestors that went through the same things, and then we're bickering over whose trauma was worse. And it's like, and the reality is, when you begin to understand the full story, if you look at the timeline, certain people went through certain things at different times, and certain people were treated differently. It's like if you had a child, you had two children in a household where one parent was abusive to one child a particular way, just like physically abusive, psychologically abusive, just like violent, just insane on the child, but yet they chose to pit the children against each other by treating the other child just a little bit nicer. Same kind of psychological mind games, and the child still ends up in that same kind of position, but they were just working them, they were manipulating them. And that's what happened to many parts of the African diaspora. Depending on the colonizer, depending on who did what, all forms of slavery wasn't the same, all forms of colonization wasn't the same. But as we educate ourselves and we begin to listen and hear, oftentimes what happens is we begin to hear the colonization coming out of our own mouths. It's like I didn't even understand colonization until 3 years ago. Really understand. I knew it intellectually and as a concept, but I didn't understand how entrenched and how it was in my fiber, and how when I would speak, it was coming out of me. And then I had to be intentional. And that's what you've been saying. I've been very intentional about peeling back the layers of that stuff to really discover who I am. Because it's a part of me is that. But then there's another part of me that's been hidden from me as a result of that. So when I have these types of conversations, instead of me getting upset, when I say I do get upset when I see like the if I go to different parts of Africa and I see them show favoritism to white people or somebody else, it does bother me, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to go back. It's like, hey, I call it out so at least they know, hey, somebody's peeping them on that. But it's no different in America. You go someplace and a white person discriminates, or they follow you around the store, and then you point it out, hey, I got you, I see you. I mean, so these conversations are really good. Now, what I want to do, again, because we're in a, I can talk to anybody anywhere in the world. So if you, wherever you are, I'm looking at some currency that I have here in my hand. I have money from several different countries, and I would love to talk to someone, obviously, from Ghana, because I spent so much time there. I'm getting ready to head back. We got a lot of content. I tell you, this was about to happen. I'm visiting several countries within by the time May is done. This is what my schedule is: Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, South Africa, Senegal, Morocco. So that's all by May. Then the latter part of the year is I'm in West. Well, no, I'm in Tanzania. Say I switch up Tanzania. But anyway, I would love to talk to some folks in Tanzania. I would love to, because that would be good to get a perspective. So if you're in Tanzania, you know somebody in Tanzania, I would love to talk to you about your culture and helping people learn, because that's how we bridge the gap. I would love, and this is a place that's really special to me, and and this is actually something that we're working on, bringing more spotlight to this particular country, because I'm a dual citizen in this particular country, and there are a lot of stories that are relevant to those of us who are part of the so-called African diaspora. This country right here, Sierra Leone. So if you're in Sierra Leone, or you know someone in Sierra Leone, I'm working on some interviews coming out of Sierra Leone, but I would love to talk to folks in Sierra Leone. Another country that is dear to me. I'll be back in Kenya. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna spend a little time in Kenya, and I want to talk to some of my Kenyan folks. I got some Kenyan in me, so I got a nice portion of Kenyan in me. And then another place that I'm going to be heading back to is this place right here, South Africa. And so going to spend some time in South Africa. I'd love to talk to some of my South African folks and just kind of learn about indigenous South African culture. And that's the part that I would love to learn about and talk about and spotlight indigenous South African culture, Same thing when it comes to Kenya and Sierra Leone, or if you're in the Congo, if you're in Central African Republic, if you're in Niger, if you are in Sudan, if you're in Ethiopia, if you're in Rwanda, if you're in Burundi, if you're in, I'm going all around now, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, the Gambia. If you're there, if you're in Liberia, I got to get some of that. What is it? Dry rice and fish or something that, y'all, let me tell you something about that Liberian food. Let me tell you something about Liberian food. Let me tell you something about Liberian food. Don't y'all sleep on Liberian food. Don't sleep on Liberian food. All right? Don't sleep on Liberian food. All right? Liberian food is the truth. That's all I got to say. So maybe we have a conversation about that. Woo! Liberian food. My folks in Nigeria, my folks in Cameroon, Gabon, we can go all the way around. Angola, Togo, Benin. So I'm making sure I have Burkina Faso. So I want to make sure I don't leave anyone out of the conversation. But that's what I'm looking to do. So stay tuned for those conversations. We have more content. I have my big Nigerian adventure video coming up. That was something that my trip to Nigeria was transformative. I love Nigeria. That's one of the reasons why I think it's so important for people to go, because it gets such a bad rap. And in the comments, somebody always has something bad to say about Nigeria. And it's kind of like America. America is like, the system of America is about as shady as it comes. Everybody talk about corruption in Nigeria. Man, they got so many games in the American system. But some of the nicest people in the world you ever meet are in America. That's just the truth. Some of the nicest, absolute nicest people in the world you will meet will be in America. And so that's why I'm able to separate the system from the people. I can find something to say about every colonial system in the world, because that's what most countries are, colonial systems, even in Africa. So I try to focus on the people and listening to the people, because if somebody judges me based upon the system that I come from without even knowing me, that's not right. And they could be missing out on so much because they're looking at me, oh, you're American, so you must like this, or you must vote this way, or you must do that. Like, you don't even know me. How can you put me? Maybe I'm feeling the same way you're feeling about the system. And so that's how we bridge the gap, because we have these conversations, we empower each other with knowledge, and we break down the walls of this nonsense that circulates. So again, everybody, just a quick reminder, you can hit me up at jcameronofficial@gmail.com. If you are any country, you can, again, African diaspora abroad. Now, this is who I really want to. This is now I want to see if somebody got some chutzpah. I don't know if I said it the right way or not, but I want to talk to some white folks about colonization. So if y'all know somebody, and I don't want to talk to the white folk that's trying to dance around the thing. I want to talk to somebody who's white, who's able to say, no, this is what I understand, or someone, or a white person who has transformed the way that they have thought as they've educated. Because I know that there are white folks that are going out here and educating themselves and recognizing what's happened, and they don't see themselves as saviors. So if you know somebody who's a white person who doesn't have a savior's complex, who is willing to have like a real conversation about colonization and their understanding of it, and maybe they've transformed in some kind of way, and they're not exploiting the continent, and all of that, like a down to earth, like a real person who's ready to have a real conversation. I would love to talk to that person, because I need to have those types of conversations too. It's easy to talk to people who look like you and sound like you, or maybe they've shared common experiences. But when you can sit down and have a conversation with someone who might not have the same common experience, but they recognize the problem, or they recognize what happened, and they're willing to, and it's not that they're coming on here feeling guilty like they did something wrong or whatever, and apologizing for what our both of our great grandparents did. They're not coming. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for somebody to come on and apologize and try to do all of that. It's just to say, what is it that you understand, and how were you taught? And the same way that I just had the conversation with Eben, I would love to have that conversation with someone, whether it be from America, from Europe, from Australia, I don't care where. It would be a really, really, I think that would be another bridging the gap kind of conversation, because that's a perspective most of us don't know, because it's almost been made like it's taboo for someone from another ethnicity to talk about what happened on the continent. And they could talk about, I would love to talk about how, how the white people still control everything in Africa. You go to wherever in Africa, and you'll find that, from the economic systems, on many levels, they're still controlling it. So it's kind of like, hey, let's talk about that. And how can those who are indigenous to Africa get in the game and start playing? Maybe that's a perspective that they have. So, and sometimes it's good to get that perspective, and it's enlightening. So I don't know. That just kind of popped in my head. But y'all know jcameronofficial@gmail.com. Here's what we have coming up in 2022. Already downloaded Ghana. That's right. Ghana is downloaded, locked and loaded. You can still go. We have a trip coming up next month. We have a trip coming up June, July, August, November, and a bunch in December. If you have custom trips that you want to do, let us know. You can come. We can curate a trip for you and make that happen. Tanzania, that's right, on the way, coming up in July. And then Egypt, we have 3 Egypt trips coming up this year. 2 are sold out. That's right, 2 are sold out going to Egypt. And some of our strategic partnerships, I'm working diligently right now on Nigeria for August. And it'll be a select group. Let me jump in here real quick. It'll be a select group going to Nigeria, because I want to make sure that the group that's going with me is culturally mature and really, I mean, and that's not really the, when I say this meaning, it's not that someone has anything to fear in Nigeria. It's just that you just need a level of cultural maturity. And so for the inaugural trip, I'll be hand selecting folks to say, hey, look, if you want to go, we'll do the session. Let's sit down and talk, because I want to make it an experience. I'm thinking about the people coming afterwards. And I'm thinking about the people, because Nigeria is not known for tourism. And you would think that it is, because it has so many people and it has so much to offer. I mean, it's like Nigeria is like, it's really a spectacular place. But that tourism is not their thing. So what we have to do is go in and curate something understanding the mindset of the people that we're taking. So I understand primarily it's going to be people from the Western world. And so I think that through. Now, Lagos and Abuja and places like that are quote unquote very developed. I'm very cautious about using terms like developed, because it still gives an air of colonized supremacy. Like, the more developed you are, the better you are, the more colonized you are, the more. So that's still a mindset that I'm filtering out of myself, because that development, still comes from stolen land, exploited people, and all of that. So I don't brag on that, but I also recognize that if people don't have the exposure, then it's like, I'd rather you have the exposure and begin to see for yourself than to get hung up on that thing, because again, ignorance is more costly than from what I'm seeing, than us going and being able to have conversations and sit down and learn and see. So Lagos is very developed. Abuja, very developed. So it's not like you're quote unquote going to the third world and all of that. Those are terms that colonizers made up. And we actually have now taken that term and redefined it to mean something that it didn't originally mean. So we now look at third world as a dump and poor and in poverty, but that's not what it originally stood for. So again, this is a part of what happens when you begin to understand colonization and educating ourselves and really kind of walking this thing down and saying, okay, how do we want to position this for the future? And that's what you see me doing. That's why so many people reach out to us to curate their tours. You might have a group and you say, look, I don't want to do maximum impact. I want to do Joe Blow's tour. Maybe not Joe Blow, but I want to do just somebody, Joe's African whatever. And so we can handle that for you. It doesn't even have to say maximum impact. We can curate it. You can put your brand on it, and you know that it's taken care of, because my thing is, let's get the people there to see. Let's prepare them so they can see, because what's on the other side of them seeing is enlightenment, is empowerment, and they're not letting other people influence what they're seeing. They can see it for themselves. And what that does for an individual is it empowers them on another level. That's maximum impact. That's why I'm excited about 2022. That's what we're going to be talking about. Bridging the gap, having conversations, creating exposure opportunities for people to educate themselves, to have a great time, to check out the nightlife, to check out the food, to check out the fashion, the clothes, bring all of the souvenirs back. That's how you do it. Not talking about it, but we're being about it. And while we're doing that, we're also going to be having some real conversations about, from a cultural perspective, what's killing us, what's taking us out. And so get ready for my interviews with a variety of different people on this topic. And so that's what we got happening. Don't forget to click that share button, that like button, subscribe button, because we're trying to have conversations that educate, empower, and inspire all at the same time. All right, till next time, take care, be safe, and don't forget to pick up The Adventures of Darren and Destiny, children's book series where we change the narratives in our children from a very young age. Talk to you soon.
Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny.